I think we overhyping this victory, you know, in a sense where nobody picked Xander to win. Defense, reflexes, all that, you know. But the only thing that I can say is I'm 10 steps ahead of him. Like I'm 10 steps ahead of him in smarts. And I think, you know, that's where he'll get in trouble with, you know, coming straight forward, you know, trying to box me or trying to, you know, think shot for shot.
Terence Crawford has now responded after Jaron Ennis called him out, and his message could not be much clearer. Crawford simply does not believe Boots has what it takes to defeat him.
Knowing when to exchange, when not to exchange. You know, when to move, when to hold. Like if you watched when he got real hurt, real bad, he didn't know when to hold. You know, and we all yelling like, grab him. You know, he's right there to be grabbed.
After stopping Xander, Zayas, Boots sounded full of confidence. He made it clear that he was ready to face anyone at 154 pounds, whether it was Crawford, Virgil Ortiz, Sebastian Fundora, or any other top name. But Crawford's response completely changed the conversation. Instead of giving Boots full credit, Bud brushed the performance aside and acted like he noticed weaknesses that many fans failed to see.
Keep one thing in mind. You know, I don't think no one picked Xander to win.
No.
You know, and I love Xander, and he's a great kid, you know, but no one, like, I think we overhyping this victory, you know, in a sense where nobody picked Xander to win. Everybody was kind of like, okay, he's in over his head and it's a matter of time before Boots catch him and end the fight. But what round will it be?
Right.
Now, I think it's going to be different when he goes up against a Fundora or a Virgil, because if one of those guys get him hurt like Xander did, I don't think it's going to be the same outcome.
That is exactly where the debate begins. Boots looked powerful, explosive, and dangerous throughout the fight, but there were also moments when he was caught clean. Crawford's camp believes those moments prove that Ennis is still not prepared to deal with a fighter who has Bud's timing, patience, experience, and ring intelligence.
Like I said, man, of course, everybody know the competitive nature in myself, but I don't worry about coming back to prove anything, because me coming back and proving something to people that it doesn't matter, what never matters. You know, for that being, they would say, oh, well, he only fought Xander, or they'll come up with some type of excuse, you know, but to credit Boots, like, he's a tremendous talent and he's no walk in the park for no one, you know, so he's a threat to anyone that he stepped foot in the ring with, you know.
Crawford did more than laugh at the challenge. He also made it clear that he believes he is 10 levels ahead of Boots. Comments like that hit much harder than an ordinary response because they show complete confidence instead of respect for the challenge.
I want to be the Terence Crawford, Floyd Mayweather level of boxing. I need Josh Kelly. I need Fundora. I need Ortiz. We need names, Boots. None of that tune-up. None of that. If you want to be one of the best, you got to go out there and get it and be the best. Get back in the ring by 2027. Come on. If you really want to be one of them boys, I see he loves to talk. I see that. But you gotta just show us in the ring. The resumes, that was the beginning of the resume.
When Crawford says he has nothing left to prove, he is really saying that Boots needs this fight much more than he does. Ennis is still trying to build the kind of legacy Crawford already believes he has earned through everything he has accomplished inside the ring.
I haven't fought this guy, and when I do fight these guys, or when I do step up, then it's always an excuse. So now that 38 years old, about to be 39, I don't have nothing to prove. I didn't win everything there is to win. You know, I hope that Jaron have half of the career that I had, you know, or surpass me. If he surpassed me, I'm going to be rooting for him. You know, I'm going to be giving him his props. I'm not the type of fighter that, you know, want to see him fail. I want to see him succeed. I want to congratulate him. I want to see him, you know, make it to the Hall of Fame and, you know, congratulate him and things like that, you know. But when you say, oh, he would knock Terence Crawford out, or Terence Crawford ducked him, or Terence Crawford ran, and that's why Terence Crawford retired. It pisses me off sometimes, but at the same time, it's just the game.
You know the truth. Yeah, you know the truth.
Crawford also repeated that he feels his career speaks for itself. That statement changes the entire discussion. Boots can continue calling him out, fans can debate the matchup, and people can ask Bud to return for one more big fight, but Crawford is looking at things differently. He has already won world championships, defeated elite opponents, conquered multiple weight classes, and built a career that most fighters spend their whole lives trying to match.
Get easy, big dog. You got anything in closing? Anything we didn't have?
Nah. I'm definitely a fan of boxing. You know, I'm gonna be in Australia. I'm gonna be.
I know you're gonna be over there. Yeah.
I'm gonna be supporting Spence, rooting him on.
Yeah.
You know, I just like to support, you know, fighters in his own right. I done been in Boots' locker room supporting him. You know, so yeah, it's just crazy how the tables turn. You know, when people get to a certain plateau and they forget about things like that.
We picking Earl. I'm picking
of course.
Of course. Sean and Sean.
Of course.
Yeah.
Sean better.
We gotta see.
Wow.
Boots did not seem bothered by Crawford claiming he has nothing left to prove. From his point of view, that sounds like an easy excuse. Crawford can laugh online, remind everyone about his achievements, and keep saying he is 10 steps ahead, but Boots believes there is only one way to settle it. If Crawford truly thinks Ennis cannot beat him, then he should come back and prove it inside the ring. Boots is basically saying Bud cannot keep talking about retirement while acting as though the fight has already been decided. Either take the fight or stop treating Ennis like he is beneath him.
I ain't worried about it. Retired. You know, we focus on task and taking over this division. We ain't worried about the retired fighters.
Yeah, y'all keep on throwing Terence up. Terence took he's retired. Leave Terence alone. Let him do what he's supposed to do. Y'all can have fun and enjoy.
According to Shannon Sharp, Chad Okocinco Johnson and Joe Johnson, Boots may be rushing toward Terence Crawford too soon. In their opinion, Crawford still holds advantages in experience, ring IQ, patience, timing, and overall skill. Boots may be younger, stronger, and more explosive, but Bud has already proven himself against the very best fighters in boxing. That is why they are not ready to pick Ennis over Crawford. They believe Bud remains the top fighter because he reads opponents before they make mistakes, adjusts during fights better than almost anyone, and knows exactly how to punish fighters who become too comfortable. Even though Boots is a dangerous opponent, they still believe Crawford operates on another level.
I know if Bud would fight him like he fought Canelo. Bud is a lot smarter than you think. Bud, people sleep on Bud. I don't know why. I mean, he's the only man that's unified 3 divisions. And you don't see guys go from 140 to 68. Jump 3, basically one fight at 54. Basically, he jumped 3 divisions. 3. Come on now. But I don't know. I don't know if Bud's like, look, man, I done made money. Now it's time for me to sit back and let these other fellas have it. He a 4-division champ. He's a 3-division unified champ. Let that sink in. In the 4-belt era, he got 3 divisions in which he had all 4.
Rick Glazer also responded to fans demanding a Boots Ennis versus Terence Crawford fight by bringing the discussion back to business. He posted that for everyone dreaming about the fight, they should remember Bud has already said he is retired and asked who would pay Crawford enough money to beat Ennis when he could instead earn well over $50 million in a rematch with Canelo. Vinny's Corner also shared his opinion by saying Bud Crawford would stop Boots Ennis and fans should stop asking for the fight. That reaction shows how many people viewed Boots' win over Xander Zayas. They agree Ennis is talented, powerful, and dangerous, but still believe Crawford is simply operating at another level. They see Bud's timing, defense, counter-punching, patience, and ability to adjust as too much for Boots to handle. While Ennis sees the call-out as confidence, Vinny's Corner believes it would become a costly mistake because Crawford could expose every weakness and end the excitement surrounding Boots very quickly. Lou DiBella offered one of the most balanced opinions in the debate. He said that if Crawford came back right now he would beat Boots, but inactivity helps nobody. He also explained that if Bud wants to prove that point he should return now because Ennis is still improving and has not yet reached his prime. Lou praised Boots for an exciting performance and admitted that his offense impressed many people, but also pointed out that Crawford and trainer Bomac almost certainly noticed the same defensive mistakes everyone else saw. His message was simple. Right now Crawford wins, but the longer he waits the tougher the fight becomes because Boots continues getting better. Boxing Massacre also weighed in by calling Crawford an old school savage and saying Boots is overrated. He claimed Bud would have ended Ennis' career and said Boots should stop mentioning Crawford's name. That opinion reflects how strongly some fans still believe in Crawford. They watched the same fight against Zayas but focused on the defensive openings and clean punches Boots absorbed. While Ennis supporters viewed the victory as a major statement, Crawford supporters saw warning signs. They believe Bud is too smart, too experienced, and too accurate to let those mistakes go unpunished. Ray Jackson completely disagreed with that opinion and said Boots Ennis would beat Crawford without hesitation. He believes Ennis has the size, speed, youth power, and confidence to create serious problems for Bud. In his view, Boots is not chasing attention by calling Crawford out because he genuinely believes Ennis can win. That is why his opinion stands out. One side sees Crawford as the smarter veteran, while Ray believes Boots is the younger, stronger fighter who could make Bud look old. Crawford later reacted to all the discussion with one short message, saying he would keep his comments to himself, but hoped everyone understood what he meant. It did not sound like praise. Instead, it sounded like Crawford noticed flaws in Boots' performance that he did not even need to explain. Ennis won the fight, but he also got hit, took unnecessary shots, and left openings that someone like Crawford would immediately recognize. By staying quiet, Bud may have said more than if he had given a long explanation because he seemed to believe the flaws were obvious. Sean Porter also shared his thoughts after looking at the matchup through the eyes of someone who has actually fought Crawford. Porter knows Boots has outstanding speed, size, power, the ability to switch stances and creative offense, but he also understands that Crawford presents a completely different challenge. Bud is patient, intelligent, aggressive when he needs to be, and constantly makes adjustments while the fight is happening. Porter experienced that firsthand, which is why his respect comes from personal experience rather than opinion. That is also why he is not ready to say Boots beats Crawford. Ennis may be younger and more explosive, but Crawford has repeatedly shown that he can take away an opponent's biggest strengths and completely change a fight. Against someone like Bud, one small mistake can completely change the outcome.
And power.
With speed and power.
I just think
and creativity.
You just don't see that. That's what this would have been.
Yep.
100%.
A plus versus A.
That's A plus versus A. I like that.
Terrence just a little too much and will catch him.
Yeah.
And buzz Boots. And
yeah.
I think that'll. I think Terrence stops him.
It's such a special fight because you got two alpha males in the ring that are true alpha males. You know what I mean? I was an alpha male until I got in the ring with that dude.
It just
that dude, like, it was like the more he wasn't allowing me to do what he wasn't, and it was like, damn, okay, well then, you know.
You had one of them in eights and the other in sparring.
I don't know, cause that dude hit me with a right hand in the sparring, and I was like, I was like, yo, that was.
According to Boxing Ego, Terence Crawford has no reason to come out of retirement just to fight Boots Ennis. The explanation is straightforward. Bud does not need that matchup the way Boots does. Ennis is the one trying to add a legendary name to his record. He is still working to prove that he belongs among the very best fighters in boxing. Crawford, on the other hand, has already built an outstanding career, already won the biggest fights available, and already reached a point where he can choose only the opportunities that truly matter to him.
Terence Bud Crawford makes it official, rejects the notion that he could come out of retirement to face Jaron Boots Ennis, stating he really has nothing to prove. Wishes Boots Ennis well on his journey, but he ain't coming out of retirement for no dang Jaron.
That is why Boxing Ego's opinion carries so much weight. Fans may continue asking for Crawford against Boots, and Ennis may keep calling him out, but Bud is no longer in a position where he has to respond to every young contender looking to build their name by fighting him. If Crawford ever decides to return, it will have to be for something that really interests him, whether that means an enormous payday or a legacy fight that gives him real motivation.
Tim. Now, I do notice that there's a lot of times where Crawford, he's very passive aggressive. Like, you could tell he got this far in his career being a competitor and being very competitive, not wanting to lose, because you would hear that message and you would be like, all right, he's showing mad love to the youngin, to Jaron Boots Ennis, who actually, he just turned like 29, I believe. He had a birthday. But you hear that and you're like, all right, Crawford was being cool. But then you look at his social media last night and he had like a snarky type of tweet that everybody knows was pretty much sneak dissing Jaron Boots Ennis. Like, I got a lot to say, but I'm gonna just keep it to myself. So Crawford is a competitor, and I noticed that he does a lot of passive aggressive stuff, where yesterday night after the fight, you're kind of like alluding to, insinuating, and subliminally getting at Boots. But now you're like, I wish him well. People are all, you know, you're being the bigger person. And then also in the same interview, he said this, play the clip.
I don't worry about coming back to prove anything, because me coming back and proving something to people that it doesn't matter.
Oshaquie Foster also had one of the strongest reactions after Boots Ennis defeated Xander Zayas, taking the praise even further. Foster said that Jaron Boots Ennis now deserves to be part of the pound-for-pound conversation. That opinion shows just how important this victory was. He was not simply complimenting Boots for putting on an impressive performance. He believed the quality of the opponent made the difference. Xander Zayas entered the fight undefeated, full of confidence, and carrying the reputation of a championship-level fighter. But Boots did much more than win a close fight. He broke Zayas down and finished him. That is why Foster believes Ennis now belongs among the best fighters in boxing regardless of weight class. A victory like this changes the way people see a fighter. It moves him from being viewed as a promising talent to being recognized as one of the sport's elite competitors.
Jaron Boots Ennis to that. Jaron Boots Ennis has now put himself, I think, into the pound-for-pound conversation. Like, without doubt for me, he's now in the top 10 pound-for-pounds, and I need to think very quickly about what number he sits at. Because yesterday, he beat an unbeaten champion and stopped him. I repeat myself, he beat an unbeaten champion and stopped him. Didn't go to points, wasn't controversial, beat him up. And I don't say that lightly, because Xander Zayas threw back. There was a time in that fight, I think it was round 3, where Xander Zayas started throwing back, and I even was on my Instagram story, and I was like, okay, we have a fight. Because the crowd started to get into it. It was the first time in a long time. I feel like we've seen Boots hurt, never really shaken, but you see Boots get connected, but Boots kind of took a back seat, like, okay, this guy's starting to land on me, and I was like, okay, this is it. Boots, though, is almost a bit, I'm trying to think of the fighter, Nigel Benn-esque for our UK viewers. When you hit him, he wants to hit you back. Almost a bit like a child in the playground. Like, there is no, okay, you're hitting me, I'm going to go on the defense and run away. No, fire with fire. And that was almost Xander Zayas' undoing, because Boots just hits too hard, he's too strong, he's too fast, and ultimately he's just too good. He's too good. He's had a couple of good performances.
Be sure to check out the other videos appearing on your screen.